Let me preface this by saying I am definitely not a financial advisor, nor do I want to be one. What I am, though, is a midlife woman who's learned a hell of a lot about money. And today I want to share that with you in this episode called The Money Restart. And it's not what you think it is. I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money, what to do with your money, save your money. But what I am going to share is your thoughts about money and changing your thoughts about money and wealth. And this comes a lot from my own experience dealing with money and how I was brought up to think about money as a child. So currently, I'm 46 years old, and I feel like I'm stuck in the transition zone between who I was in the past and who I'm trying to become in the future. So, as I've said in previous episodes, my whole life I was into fitness, got my bachelor's degree in exercise science, and I taught fitness classes for 26 years. And when my son died, I decided that I really don't want to do that anymore, at least full time as my main interest, my main pursuit, like I have been doing my whole life. And I wanted to transition and still want to transition into public speaking. In that same breath, I'd also like to reopen my dance fitness studio, which I opened in the middle of COVID, of all things. But that dance studio is called Fit and Lit, and I do own that name. I own that brand. But the problem for me has always been a lack of money to fund that dream. I don't come from money. I mean, we're not dirt poor, but I definitely don't come from a family of wealth. I don't have grandparents who left me a trust fund. My father passed away and I was only given just a couple $1,000s. I didn't marry into money, certainly didn't do that. I didn't grow up with the opportunity to just step into a family business. So I've had to really work for every dollar that I've made in life, right? But growing up in the religious spectrum that I did, I've realized now as a grown woman that I was taught to have a limiting belief around money. I was taught to look at excess money as a bad thing. And I think that comes from being raised in the church because nobody ever sat me down and told me, Sabrina, if you make a lot of money, that's going to be a sin against God. But it was really understood throughout my entire childhood that you make enough just to live, just to survive and pay your bills. And then you give 10% to the church for tithing. That was a big deal in the Church of God that I grew up in. You know, you had to tithe 10% of your paycheck. And then what little bit is left, you can go out and have a nice dinner, grab a show, buy an outfit once in a while, but you never want to have a lot of money because God doesn't like that. That's greedy, that's selfish, and then of course, I grew up hearing the story in the Bible about when I think it's the Pharisees or maybe another group of religious people during that time, they were dealing with money inside the church, and Jesus came in and flipped the tables and told them, don't do that kind of stuff in my house, right? So that kind of keeps the thoughts pervasive about money that okay, if you deal with a lot of money, God is not going to like it. He's going to destroy it, or something is going to happen to you where you shouldn't have a lot of money in your possession. And even though, like I said, again, nobody told me that directly, it was understood that we just make enough money to live, but we don't ever have excess money because God is not going to like that and He's not going to bless that, right? So growing up, going through my 20s and my 30s, I didn't realize that those thoughts were ingrained in me and they had since become limiting beliefs in my subconscious that were wrapped around the idea of having money. So I've always struggled when it comes to my finances. I've never been able to have a budget And if I did, I definitely went over the budget because I didn't know how to stick to one. But I was never even taught how to make one, first of all, right? But second, I always looked at a lot of money as I got to get rid of it. So in the past, when I would have a lot of money, I would find ways to spend it. It's just got to go. It's got to go. It's got to go. Whether it be on clothes, trips, hair, nails, stuff for my kids. I just never wanted to keep a lot of money in my bank account because subconsciously I had been taught that was a bad, quote, sinful thing. And what's happened is it's caused me to struggle my entire life. And so now that I'm in my mid 40s and I have this dream that I not only want to go and public speak, but I want to reopen my dance fitness studio. There's no money, AKA resources available for me to do those things. Because why? I wasn't taught how to manage my money effectively when I was younger. Now, looking back, could I have put away $1,000 a year, $500 a year, whatever, just some amount each year to put into this savings account to build my dream currently? Yeah. But in my 20s and 30s, I wasn't thinking about, I'm going to open a business. I want to speak publicly and travel the country. Those thoughts were not even a distant idea. So here I am in midlife now wanting to pursue those things, but I can't because the money is not there. And again, I'm not saying that it can't come or it won't be there in the future, but I am letting you know why I've realized the root cause of why I'm struggling nowadays is because my thoughts around money growing up were so limited. And it all goes back to religion. You know, that's what I've realized about my life. Like everything stems from this root of religion. Money is bad. Having sex before marriage is bad. Drinking is bad. Smoking is bad. You know, dancing is bad. Dressing sexy is bad. Like all these things that I was taught in this cult of the Pentecostal faith growing up has destroyed me as an adult. It really has, because it all goes back to the church, the church, the church, the church, the church. And if you're somebody listening to this and you are a pro-church person, you might want to exit now because I'm sure what I'm saying is offensive to you, and that's okay. We don't have to agree. But I know the reasons that I struggle today as an adult is because of the horrible rules that I was taught and made to believe were, quote, Christian as a kid coming up who didn't know any better. I didn't have any siblings to run to. I didn't have anybody to go back and ask for advice. Hey, is this actually true, or is it something that I've been made to believe by the faith? And I've had to figure all of this stuff out by myself over the years, which I feel like has given me a disadvantage and it's put me behind the 8 ball, you know, because I'm just now learning, holy shit, I deserve wealth. I actually deserve a lot of money. I deserve to have my dreams fulfilled. I deserve to go after my passion and that fire in my heart. I deserve all of that. But the limiting beliefs around having excess and being able to live free has kept me from doing all of that. And today, I want to share that with you because if you are somebody that grew up like I did with that old-fashioned belief of you got to go to church and you got to live this way and you can only spend money on this, and if you buy that, you're going to hell, and God doesn't like excess and greedy, and oh, they can have the big houses, but we can't. They can live in the nice neighborhoods, but I could never. They can have all the money and go on the trips, but I can't seem to make that. If you grew up like that, with that belief, I'm here to tell you that it's not too late to change your mindset. Everyone deserves to have exactly what they want in this life. And I know we all have to go through different routes to get that in our path, but you are deserving of that, just as I am deserving. I am deserving of nice things. I am deserving of money in my bank account. I am deserving of wealth. I am deserving to live out a dream and a passion and a purpose and a path and a destiny that's going to bring me the income that I've always wanted and always deserved, but didn't know I could get as a child. And so are you. You are deserving of the same things. So Maybe you need to also change your mindset around money. Do you believe that you're worthy of wealth? Do you believe that you're deserving of more than you currently have in your life, in your bank account, in your home? Do you believe that? Because if you don't believe that, doesn't matter what kind of job you have, you're never going to have that, because you're going to be just like I was. You're going to go spend the money before it can even reach your bank account, because you're going to think subconsciously that you too are not worthy of having a lot in your life. And I want to tell you today that you are worthy. No matter your age, no matter your season of life, no matter your past, no matter what you've come from, no matter what you've come from, you are worthy of having wealth in your life, whatever that looks like to you. It might be $100, it might be 10,000, it might be 100,000, it might be 25 million. Whatever you think of as wealth, you are deserving of that and more, just as I am. Thank you for joining me today on this episode of the Restart Podcast. If you like this, if this hit home with you, would you please like, share, and rate us? I would so appreciate it, you guys. Until next time, have a great week. Bye-bye.